Mr. Mayor, thank you. Wait. Before you walk down, I wanted the Casey's to come up with me because where I come from, Scranton's Casey's country. We got raised in the same neighborhood in Greenridge, not far from two of the best little candy shops in the whole country. And I just wanted to they can't deny me. That's why I wanted them up here. I want them to know. And by the way, this guy has more integrity in his little finger than most people have in their whole body. That's why I love working with him.
Welcome home.
And and like me, he married way up, way up. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. As my mother, Jean Finnegan Biden from Greenridge would say, please excuse my back when I'm speaking. I apologize. And by the way, you know, one of the best things of all being President of the United States is the Marine Band. They're the best in the world. Stand up, guys. They are the very best. They can not only play, they know how to fight too. God love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. How are you, baby? How old are you? How old are you? Almost double figures. Well, look, folks, it's great to be here in Wilkes-Barre. I mean that sincerely. Well, thank you. Well, thank you so much. Mayor Brown, thank you for the introduction and the passport into this great city. And Mayor Cognetti, we're almost in heaven. We're almost in Scranton. Almost. Being raised in Scranton, they used to say, you're going down the line. Any rate, you know, and what a leadership lineup you have here in Pennsylvania. I want to thank your outstanding governor, Tom Wolf. Tom and I have been friends a long time. He's truly one of the best governors in the United States of America. Not a joke. Not a joke. And a stand-up guy. A stand-up guy. And Josh Shapiro is a champion for the rule of law as your Attorney General. And he's going to make one hell of a governor. I really mean it. And by the way, he couldn't be here today. We spoke, Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman. When I say he's a powerful voice, I used to be in the old days a pretty good athlete, and if someone was really big and tough, you say I wouldn't screw with him if I had a sledgehammer. Well, I tell you what, Fetterman's a hell of a guy, a powerful voice for working people, and he's going to make a great United States Senator. He's going to make a great United States Senator. And as I said, Bobby Casey is one of my closest friends, one of our great United States Senators. And your congressman, Matt Cartwright, is the real reason I'm here. I'm in Cartwright country. He knows how to deliver for this district, which is so close to my heart. Look, I especially want to thank all the members of law enforcement who are here, many of whom are behind me, for always being there for us. And we should always be there for them. And by the way, also a group that you need badly, you don't really appreciate till you need them, is the firefighters. The firefighters have been with me my whole career. And let me tell you something. There's an old expression, God made man, then he made a few firefighters, because you got to be crazy to be a firefighter. By the way, please sit down. I'm sorry. Please sit down. I keep forgetting. Thank you. But look, when I ran for president, I said I looked at the world the way I looked at it growing up in Scranton, and that wasn't hyperbole. I meant that. What families wanted was in Scranton when I was growing up with my mom and dad and my grandpa was the basic as it is today. A decent job, the opportunity to be treated with dignity. Everyone, my dad would say, everybody's entitled to be treated with dignity, just simple dignity. The fact is that they want to be able to go to good schools, in safe neighborhoods, a decent place to live, and just a fair shot for their kids. A peace of mind knowing your kids can go to school or the playground or the movies or the high school game and come home safely, not have to think about it. But for too long, too many families haven't had that peace of mind. They watch the news and they see kids being gunned down in schools and on the streets. Almost every single night you turn the news on, that's what you see. They see their neighbors lose their loved ones to drugs like fentanyl, which is a flat killer. They see hate and anger and violence just walking the streets of America. And they just want to feel safe again. They want to feel a sense of security. And that's what my crime plan is all about. I call it the Safer America's Plan. And both your members of Congress voted for it. It's based on a simple notion. When it comes to public safety in this nation, the answer is not defund the police, it's fund it.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Breaking news, Mikhail Gorbachev dead at the age of 91. We're going to play some of President Ronald Reagan's speech here in just a moment, but also very important today, we're getting a lot of play on this on our social media sites, thanks to super producer Chris Larson. Question for you today, and we're going to explain here in a moment. Is the Fargo School District being innovative or abusive? Is the Fargo School District being innovative or abusive? We will explain. Welcome to the Chris Berg Show, your daily dose of truth to help set you free. Coming to you live from the PetroServe USA studio, helping you and America feel better. I want to start today by saying thank you. Many of you are heeding the call and allowing us to go to work for you. We've got so many topics I want to get into today where you've been reaching out to us and saying, hey, look, can you guys look into this? That's how we're coming up with this Fargo School District. Are they being innovative or abusive topic? More people reaching out to me in regards to having to pay back their unemployment insurance from COVID. One of them, a over 20-year veteran, does not want his name disclosed, so we're going to keep that anonymous, but I just want to share some of the story with you. And you think about, here's people that they went and applied for this unemployment insurance. They were promised, they told, hey, look, this is a pandemic. You need to stay inside your house. And all of a sudden the state wants it back. But yet Biden can sit at 1,600 pen with a stroke of a pen and wipe away $10,000, $20,000 in student loan debt that many of these people don't even need it erased. Can you imagine being a vet, putting your life on the line for our liberties? Now you got somebody wanting the money back. And I'm hearing that sometimes the job services of North Dakota is coming at people with an 18% interest rate if you don't pay back the unemployment insurance. I mean, that's a big rate. That's a big rate. So we're going to get all that and much more today. Also, Dr. Scott Jensen actually right now is speaking down at the Minnesota State Fair. He's releasing his education platform. So he's going to join us as soon as he's done, coming up at right around 4:35, 4:38 here on the show. But I want to play this story because it's really important. I don't know if you know the story behind Mr. Gorbachev. Please tear down this wall. But it's a pretty fascinating one. So here is the speech. But what you may or may not know, and this isn't the whole thing, just a quick clip of it, but what you may or may not know is that President Reagan and speechwriters were going back and forth about, hey, should that be in the speech? Should it not be in the speech? They took it out of the speech because they didn't want him to say it, but President Reagan wanted to say it, and of course, he just did. So I want you to grasp what takes place here, because knowing that this wasn't in the speech, his speechwriters didn't want him to say it, but you hear him go through a few seconds before he says it, just the response from the audience and what they're hearing from President Ronald Reagan. And that just sort of pushed him over the edge. He's like, I don't care what these speechwriters say. I'm going for it. So here it is.
General Secretary Gorbachev, if you seek peace, if you seek prosperity for the Soviet Union and Eastern Europe, if you seek liberalization, come here to this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, open this gate.
So audience is going wild.
Mr. Gorbachev. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
And then they just go nuts. It's just epic when you hear the backstory on some of this stuff. When the time is right, and right now is not, because he still may end up running for president of the United States. But and I just say all this because there was a time when President Donald Trump was in North Dakota, and I had the opportunity to interview him, and we were chatting backstage, and I shared a story with him. And I don't want to get into the specifics now because obviously I don't want to disclose any of that unless he ends up saying he's not going to run. But he and I had a conversation backstage about something very specific. And I said, Mr. President, and I sort of laid out some thoughts and ideas about what's happening here in the state and things he's been doing on the campaign trail. And I was like, hey, if you could say this, that would be great. And next thing you know, I'm out in the audience. I'm, just kind of hanging out, taking it all in, and boom, he laid it up perfectly, set it up, and all of a sudden, poof, 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 he just starts dropping verbatim one of the things or ideas I had sort of planted in a pre-speech conversation. So it was a pretty proud moment to see the President of the United States stand up and, take a suggestion and go with it. So at some point in time when it's right, I will share more of those details. All right, let's get into where we were going to lead before this breaking news, and that is this. So earlier today, somebody reached out to us and said, hey, we pay our taxes. We pay our taxes here. So why in the world is my son or daughter, and super producer Chris Larson is going to give us more of these details, but why in the world is my son or daughter being asked to pay for a parking ticket? I believe it's at one of the local high schools here. So, hey, I pay out my property taxes. I'm good here. We do this. And yet now if my son or daughter wants to park in the parking lot, they're being asked to pay more money to get a parking pass. So super producer Chris Larson, you saw this comment. You followed up with the Fargo schools. What's the details here, my friend?
Yeah, so Chris, what basically comes down to is Fargo Public Schools charges their students $46 for a parking spot. I reached out to Anne Marie Campbell, Communications Director and Executive Assistant to the Fargo Public School Board, and she said to me that because they have a limited amount of spaces, students wishing to have a guaranteed spot to park within the parking lot must purchase that $46 parking permit. Now, that's a permit that gets kids through the whole year.
So they pay the $46, but also they're not necessarily guaranteed a spot, correct?
And that's what I found out from hearing from some other parents is even though that this statement that Fargo Public Schools sent says students wishing to have a guaranteed spot, what I'm hearing is that isn't the case. So I'm following up with the Fargo Public School District to find out, is it true that they are guaranteed a spot or not?
All right, we're going to get some comments here on the Facebook page, but also you did get a statement from Anne Marie, because I think one of the questions you and I had as we were discussing this, Chris, and again, I bring all this up because, number one, it's getting a lot of comments on social media, so obviously people are into this conversation. But number two, I just want you to understand that, look, Chris Larson and I are here to go to work for you, to dive into topics and things that you're like, something just doesn't seem right here. I want some answers. We will go find that for you. It's very easy to have us go to work for you. Just email us at studio@chrisbergshow.com. Again, studio@chrisbergshow.com, or just use our tip line. It's 855-200-1776, 855-200-1776, extension 6. So, Chris, do you mind reading the statement you got from Fargo Schools and letting people know where the money actually goes?
Yeah, so the statement says basically that Fargo Public Schools high school parking lots have a finite number of spaces. Students wishing to have a guaranteed spot to park within the parking lot must purchase a parking permit. The fees charged for student parking permits are used to offset the costs to maintain the parking lots. These costs include snow removal, sweeping, painting, and other general maintenance costs. Again, that's from Anne Marie Campbell, the Communications Director for Fargo Public Schools.
So if you're just joining us, number one, welcome to the show. But here's what we're talking about. Students are being asked to pay for parking spots at some local schools, and these are mainly high schools, correct, Chris?
Yeah, only Fargo Public Schools high schools.
So at the high schools, it's $46 for the year. There's obviously a limited number of parking spots. So I'm going to pose this to you, Chris, and pose this to our audience. If you want to call into the show and share your point of view on Fargo Public Schools, and it looks like from some of the comments here, West Fargo, Bismarck, other districts are doing the same. So are the school districts being innovative or are they being abusive? I would love to know your point of view. Are they being innovative or being abusive? The number to call in to share your point of view, 701-271-1100. Again, 701-271-1100. Do you like the fact that they are charging for these parking spots? Look, you guys know where I'm at with education. I would love nothing more. Well, actually, Chris, let me go to you first and I'll share my point of view. So are they being innovative or abusive, Chris?
So I look at this two ways. They're being innovative because, the fees that these are charged, they are going to improve things at the Fargo School District. But what I see on the negative side is this may deter some of those kids that can't afford it from being able to drive to the school. So I see it both ways.
I'm sorry. The last part of that was it could prevent what? I'm sorry?
Kids that can't afford the parking passes but have a vehicle could prevent them from coming.
Dude,
and driving themselves.
We'll just have them call Joe Biden. They'll get free parking passes, right? I think, you know what? Next time somebody runs for mayor in the city of Fargo, some of these districts, that should be on their platform. Hey, vote for me and I'll give your kids a free parking pass at school. I can't guarantee a spot, but they're going to get a free parking pass at school. Let's get to the phone lines. I'm going to share with you my point of view on this. Is the Fargo Public Schools being innovative or abusive when it comes to making you pay for parking spots? I believe it's Danielle. Danielle's on line one. Welcome to the show. What's your point of view, Danielle?
Hey, buddy, it's Daniel.
Daniel, I'm sorry.
Anyways, here's the deal. These people are paying property tax for the school and the parking lot. If these students aren't getting parking lots to park their vehicles, who's parking in those spots? This is baloney that these students going to school have to pay for what their parents are being charged for through their taxes. And I believe the school owes a refund to the parents for doing this. The school is totally in the wrong, and they need to publicly come onto your show and explain what's going on and talk to parents live on your show.
Daniel, we need to have you on the show more often. I love you're taking the strong point of view today. Daniel, thanks so much for the call. If you want to call in and share your point of view, very easy to do. 701-271-1100, 701-271-1100. Daniel there saying, hey, this is absolutely wrong that they're asking these kids to pay for these parking tickets because the parents obviously are already paying for the property taxes. And he says that they should refund these students that have paid. Wait until you hear in the next segment what else the city of Fargo is doing, which I don't even know if it's legal what they're doing, but I just got this email and it's stunning that I want to read it to you again. Thank you for everybody that's reaching out to us and saying, hey, can you help me look into this and get to the bottom of it? Again, number to call in, 701-271-1100, 701-271-1100. I'm going to get to some Facebook comments, and then when we come back, I'll share with you my point of view on the situation. And then also this email I got about the city of Fargo, which, wow. All right. Daniel says, how much to park in the parking lot will burn? So we're a little over $40. Flo Leduc, aren't taxes paid for the school? Isn't that part of it? That's exactly what Daniel just said. Sharon, we have to pay for a parking permit at Cheyenne High School, which is in the West Fargo School District. So again, this is not just Fargo. It's also apparently happening in West Fargo. I think we've got a comment here from somebody in Bismarck as well. Somebody says here their parents already pay through the nose in property taxes. This is so wrong. Jamie says, we paid for my son when he picked up the parking ticket. He was told it's first come, first serve. So even if you have a ticket, right? Like typically you pay for the VIP, you know, at least, hey, someone's going to grab my luggage. In this deal, you don't even know if you're still going to get a spot. All right, so is it innovative or abusive for the Fargo Public Schools or many of these school districts to be charging for these parking spots? I'd love to know your point of view. 701-271-1100. Stick around. Much more coming up right after this.
Your farm and business depends on a reliable source for energy. PetroServe USA is the customer-owned co-op committed to being a stable source of fuel for your equipment and propane to dry your grain. We have the capacity to make sure you never run out of fuel and to keep prices stable. Dependability, competitive prices, and exemplary service. That's PetroServe USA, helping America fuel better. PetroServe USA. Call today.
Plainsgrain.com for this opening today.
Attention North Dakota veterans. Did you know there is free transportation provided to veterans for medical appointments? This service is at no cost to you and available in several highly rural counties throughout the state. Contact your county veteran service officer for further information. North Dakota Veterans Affairs, proudly serving veterans from around the state with additional resources.
This message is sponsored by the Department of Veteran Affairs and aired in cooperation by the North Dakota Broadcasters Association and this station.
The reviews are in. My coffee is a big hit. People absolutely love it. One of our listeners said, Scott, I've sampled a lot of coffee, but this one's different. It's rich, but also very smooth, low acidity. The finish is clean, and it has a pleasant aftertaste. Try some for yourself today. Go to mystore.com. Use the promo code Scott for up to 25% off. Your choices include whole bean, ground, coffee pods, light roast, medium roast, dark roast, and a decaf. Again, in coffee pods, ground, or whole bean, your choice. And guess what? It's roasted and packed right here in the USA. It's guaranteed, like all the products at MyPillow. Mike Lindell invites you to try his new product, My Coffee, by going to mystore.com. Mystore.com. Use the promo code Scott or call this number, 800-506-9028. 800-506-9028 or mystore.com, promo code Scott for the best coffee you've ever had, bar none.
Did you know that periodontal disease is the #1 health problem in small animal patients? Hello, I'm Dr. Calderwood, a veterinary dental practitioner at Prairie Winds Veterinary Center. By 2 years of age, 80% of dogs and 70% of cats have some form of periodontal disease. If you notice a change in your pet's playful habits, breath, or facial swelling, there's a chance that your pet is suffering from mouth pain. Prairie Winds Veterinary Center can help. Call us at 701-356-5600 or learn more at prairiewindsvet.com.
Golf should be a relaxing yet challenging experience. When you play at Pebble Lake Golf Club, you play amongst mature trees, roller coaster hills on some holes, and unique bunkers and water hazards along the way. Pebble Lake Golf Club in Fergus Falls combines the beauty of nature and the challenge of a championship course, including generous fairways and exceptional greens. And the 18th hole was featured in Minnesota Golf Magazine a few years back. To find out more or book a tee time, go online at playpebblelake.com.
Welcome back to the Chris Berg Show. Great to have you with us here on a beautiful, beautiful Tuesday. If you want to call into the show, very easy to do to share your point of view. We're asking you, hey, is the Fargo School District, and it sounds like many school districts across the state, they are now charging students for parking spots. So saying, hey, if you want to park here, we're going to charge you money, but we can't guarantee that you're actually going to get a spot. Oh, and by the way, you're still going to pay your property taxes. So the number to call in, let me know your thoughts, 701-271-1100, 701-271-1100. So just grab your phone and dial that number. And you can also email us at studio@chrisbergshow.com. Again, studio@chrisbergshow.com. I want to say thank you very much to Red Wing Shoes for sponsoring our studio email inbox. If you're someone out there working hard in a blue-collar gig, first and foremost, thank you for what you do. And then secondly, please stop into your Red Wing Shoes. Check out Teresa there at 3003 Main Avenue in Fargo. And here's why you want to do that. They customize your work boots. So they're protective work boots, but then they're customized just for your feet. So go check them out, 3003 Main Avenue in Fargo or redwingshoes.com. All right, more comments coming in here. We're going to get to one that's on our live stream. Easy parking on, quote unquote, everyone is out sick days and many left without a spot on testing days. They must have taken a page from the colleges. Oversell parking passes so heavy need times don't have enough spaces, making students late for class when they had to pay for parking anyways. Another one says, hey, The school gets plenty of money last year from our government. We pay for parking in Bismarck too, not as much as $46. Becky says, I think the schools have enough money to maintain the parking lots. Kids and families have enough school stuff to worry about without students having to pay for parking their car. All right. So do you think this is innovative or abusive from Fargo public schools or other school districts to do this? Now, let me let me share my point of view this way. And here's my frame. I'm a marketer. I'm a big believer. In fact, one of my great marketing mentors always said, hey, when demand goes up, supply goes down. When demand goes up, supply goes down. I think we're seeing that in the car business right now, speaking of parking spots. But my point there, all right, let's get to the phone lines here. Thank you for calling in. My point is that I think you could make a very strong argument that the Fargo School District is being innovative. They're like, look, people want this stuff. They're willing to pay for it. We might as well charge them. Let's go to David. David's on line one. Welcome to the show, David. What's your point of view?
Well, if they're going to charge for it, they need to make sure they keep the lots up pretty well, because if they start getting potholes, they're going to be liable for front end alignments and damages. So I'll go ahead and listen.
You know what, David? I'm glad you brought that up, because if we have time here, I'm going to get to this email that I got from somebody else in Fargo who's making an absurd, making other people responsible for others. It's insane when you see Joe Biden wiping away student debt, and then some things that are happening with the unemployment insurance wanting to get repaid, and what I'm going to share with you here in a moment. Again, if you want to call into the show, share your point of view on what's happening here with these paid parking spots at high schools, let us know. 701-271-1100. Dustin Garlow was on the show yesterday. Thank you, Dustin. Dustin says, hey, there's no such thing as a free lunch or free parking. Apparently not. Even if you pay, Dustin, you still might not get a spot. So, hey, I think you could say that's innovative marketing right there. Let's go to Gary on line two. Gary, welcome to the show. What's your point of view?
Hang on. Okay. I'm sorry, Chris. I think that I did some simple math, and we are funding our schools here to the tune of $14,000 per student. And so the average class size is about 20. So if you do the simple math, and I can do simple math, that comes up to $280,000 per classroom is how we are funding our public schools here in Fargo. And I know the teachers are making, I don't know, 50, 60,000. Where is the other money going? Now, I know there's overhead administrative costs, but it seems to me that is a lot of money that we are spending on our students and for education. And I think, that they ought to have a parking lot out there. But if there's a limited amount of spaces, what are you going to do? You're going to have fist fights break out in the parking lot?
Hey, you know what, Gary, thank you very much. He's right. We are spending as a state about $14,000 per student education. And if you're going to talk parking spots, those parking spots better have something attached to them that takes you right to your class for 14 G's. I mean, we're spending a lot of money per student here in North Dakota. And then when you start to look at what's our ROI, our return on investment for that 14 grand, it's not very good. I hate to be the bearer of bad news to us, because oftentimes we want to sort of, oh, hey, it's North Dakota education. Things are pretty, it's okay. No. If you look at the actual scores, they are simply not good. So would love to know your point of view. A lot of people commenting on our Facebook page. If you want to, and that's what I want to share with you. If you've got something you want us to look into, please go to our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/Chris Berg Show. Again, facebook.com/Chris Berg Show. And then you can just message us there. And we've had a bunch of people doing that. I apologize. I don't know if we're going to have time today to get to the unemployment insurance situation, but we're hoping to have a guest on tomorrow that's got just a horrific story about that. I've got a veteran who's got a horrific story. So we will touch on that more tomorrow in tomorrow's show. But Paul says this on Facebook about having to pay for parking at public schools. This is the most asinine thing I've read today. Thanks. Last I checked, the parking lot of a building and its maintenance is already part of the budget for said facility. Or why is this one any different? This is what I mean. I think this is marketing. This is them finally going, hey, let's put on our marketing business hat here at Fargo Public Schools or the school districts and going, look, there's a high demand. There's a low supply. Let's make people pay. Let's make people pay. Okay, I want to get to this just to sort of plant this seed today. Unless you want to call in and talk about anything else, you're always welcome to do so. 701-271-1100. There's two things here quickly, and one of them we're going to dive, well, actually both of them I should say, we're going to dive into more for you as we can. But again, these are things that people have reached out to us. We just want you to know that we are here to serve you. That's all that matters on the show. We are here to serve you, so let us know how we can do that. So I want to just share this with you, and we'll have more for you on this soon. But somebody sent me a picture from a teacher at Davies High School. So it's a picture from a classroom in Davies High School. And you'll get my point here in a moment. And it says, give recommendations to Miss/Mr. Brown. So apparently there's a teacher at Davies High School that's going by Miss and Mr. Miss and Mr. So if anyone's got any more information on that, please let us know. Again, studio@chrisbergshow.com. Again, studio@chrisbergshow.com, and we'll be able to dive into that and get you some more info. So I got this email, and I really want to share this with you because this is what we do here. We go to work for you. But then when you hear this, you're like, holy cow, really? City of Fargo had the gall to do this? It's sort of like this unemployment insurance deal. Let's go to some more phone calls here on the lines. And if we don't get this email today, believe me, you are going to want to hear about this email and what the city of Fargo is doing with tenants and landlords. And it is stunning. So number to call in, 701-271-1100. Hopefully I've got this right. But Joey D on line one, welcome to the show. What's your point of view? And please tell me you're from Jersey Shore.
How you doing there, Mr. Burke? No, I'm not. I'm born and raised in this area and lived here all my life, except for my stint in the Marine Corps.
Thank you for your service, sir.
Well, thanks for your support. I just want to tell you that it sounds like there's liberal ideology that's creeping into our schools, and that's the last thing we need. They're asking for money, and they can't guarantee that they're going to use it to help you.
Very, very well said, Joey D. Thank you. And thank you again, sir, for your service. You really appreciate it. Number to call in, 701-271-1100. We got Mike. Mike, welcome to the show. What's your point of view?
Hey, the parking, the schools, kids going to schools like their job, and I don't know of any jobs that charge for parking.
You know what? I forgot to mention this. That's such a great point. Somebody put on our Facebook page, like, wait a second, like, I'm your customer at Target. I go to customer. I'm not paying for parking. I'm going to go in there. I've paid my money, or I'm going to pay my money. Even if I don't pay my money, I can go shop around at Target. I don't have to pay for parking. Why are they charging me to park at a high school? I've already paid for my property taxes. I should be paying for the parking lot. So, Mike, a great point. We really appreciate the call, sir. Again, that's it for now, because we have Dr. Jensen coming up. But if you've got questions for Dr. Jensen, as we're talking about education, Joey D., who served our great nation, just mentioned the liberal ideology that is coming into our schools. Dr. Scott Jensen, running for governor for the great state of Minnesota. He's going to join us just moments ago, and hopefully he's done with the press conference. But just moments ago, he did drop his education platform in Minnesota. He's at the state fair. So we're going to hear we'll be the first media outlet on the planet to find out from Dr. Scott Jensen what is in store for Minnesotans if he's your next governor when it comes to education. Number to call in if you want to visit with him, 701-271-1100. Again, 701-271-1100.
Mostly sunny for this evening, then mostly clear tonight. Wind will be lightening up as well, around 5 to 10 miles an hour. It will become light and variable. We'll drop down to a low of 56 degrees. For Wednesday, more sunny skies. Temperatures in the mid-80s with a northwest wind 5 to 15. It will turn breezy for Thursday. Those skies remain mostly sunny, with high temperatures reaching back into the mid and upper 80s.
And with kids back in school, can't
Details are called 218-233-8655. 218-233-8655.
Do you struggle with occasional nerve aches in your hands or feet? Try Nervive Nerve Relief from the world's #1 nerve care company. Nervive tablets contain alpha-lipoic acid to relieve nerve aches, weakness, and discomfort, plus B-complex vitamins to support healthy nerve function as you age. Live life with less nerve discomfort with Nervive Nerve Relief. Learn more at nervivehealth.com. And try Nervive Pain Relieving Cream to block nerve pain signals at the source. Use as directed.
Man, I slept.
New ZQuil Pure Z's restorative herbal sleep is made for people who are tired of being tired.
I've never slept like this before. I've never woken up like this before.
A melatonin-free sleep aid made with a botanical blend that contains clinically studied and effective valerian root, hops, and passion flower, shown to help promote better restorative sleep. ZQuil Pure Z's restorative herbal sleep. Sleep this good, feel this good. Available at retailers near you.
Are you a dreamer? Do you have ideas for your home that someday you'd like to do? Well, Broughton Cabinets loves dreamers. The designers at Broughton Cabinets understand that change can take time. So they welcome all dreamers to stop by their new showroom south of Fleet Farm. You have so many options for kitchens and mudrooms, laundry rooms, and so much more. If you're in the beginning stages of building or just starting to think about remodeling a den or adding a dog wash station, the team at Broughton Cabinets is ready to dream with you.
There's one man on this earth who really, truly gets it.
If we are relying on the Republican Party infrastructure and bureaucracy to crush the Democrats in November, we're not going to crush the Democrats in November. What made the difference last November in a state like Virginia was not the Republican Party. The Republican Party was irrelevant. Mitch McConnell was irrelevant. They were all irrelevant. It was the grassroots.
Mark Levin is on the radio.
Mark Levin, weekdays at 5, only on The Flag.
Welcome back to the Chris Berg Show, your daily dose of truth to help set you free. Help set you free. We've just been talking about paying for parking permits at some of the local high schools. And I want to let you know, super producer Chris Larson, because we had a person that called into the show earlier and said, hey, Fargo Public Schools needs to be in your show, do an interview, and answer questions about this. Well, apparently we did ask for an interview. They said, thanks, but no thanks. What else is new? Someone who's always very gracious with his time, and I'm going to presume way more busy than people at Fargo Public Schools, and still makes time to speak to you, his constituents, is the one and only Dr. Scott Jensen. Speaking about education, he dropped his education platform probably just about an hour ago, and he's joining us live here today. So Dr. Jensen, as always, thank you so much for giving us some of your time. You shared your education platform today. What does that mean for the people listening right now?
Well, thanks, Chris, for having me on. It's always good to be with you. You're always interested in having solutions to real problems, and that's what we're trying to do here. Clearly, in Minnesota, our K-12 education program is not what it used to be. We used to be top 5, and we aren't anymore. The fact of the matter is, we spend 150% of what a lot of states do, and we're underperforming them. This is not about partisan politics. This is about our kids. I think everybody understands it. When we hammer our children with aspects of critical race theory, telling them that what they accomplish isn't really their accomplishment, it's just because of the color of their skin, we know that this is a horrific transgression that we're committing with our children. So we came out with a 10-point plan, and just real quickly, Chris, we think that parents need to have a bill of rights to protect themselves, protect their opportunity to get a hold of curriculum, and to know that parents are in charge and they're not allowing government or anyone else to co-opt the authority that is theirs and theirs alone. We also, number two, is we wanted to raise achievement for all students. We need to set standards in reading, writing, and arithmetic that reflect greater rigor. And when we're not doing that, we're not doing anybody any favors. We also need to have a bold plan for school choice. That's the big idea that we have to entertain right now. There's no reason why a young person should be relegated to an underperforming school district because of his or her zip code. And I think we absolutely need to have school choice, but we also have to provide some funding for the home school district, home public school district, so that if they end up having Johnny or Janie bounce back into the school district, they've got a place for them. And so we have to pay the public schools to make sure that they can do that. We need to get rid of the divisive curricula and the indoctrinating kinds of conceptual ideologies out of the classroom. We need to make Minnesota schools safer at multiple levels. We have to have safety plans. We need to make certain that teachers are protected. We need to partner with law enforcement, churches. But the bottom line is we need to really focus on mental health, and that's a huge issue.
That is a huge issue.
All kids, we have to have all kids be present, Chris. We've got some of the school districts thinking that, well, if you're such and such color of skin, being truant or skipping school isn't going to be punished because of this exceptional circumstance or whatever. And in those situations, this isn't really helping those underperforming kids or those truant children. We need them to be in the school, and that's the only way that we're going to really be able to ensure that we can make a difference. We need to protect and promote homeschooling families. Homeschooling families have taught us a lot. They're very successful. They were, frankly, part of the eyes wide open during the COVID-19 pandemic, and for that we'll always owe homeschooling parents a debt of gratitude. But we need to absolutely protect and promote homeschooling. We need to teach subjects with real-world application to them. We need personal finance, character development, civics. Not all kids learn by looking at a computer screen, and we need to be able to touch kids in multiple ways, audially, visually, however. We need to implement a broader transfer of credit in higher education so kids aren't finding out from, they transfer universities or colleges or whatever, and they find out, gee whiz, I just found out that I'm not a junior anymore. Now I'm in the tail end of my freshman year. This has got to stop. We've got to do a better job. And lastly, the Minnesota State Higher Education Grant Program needs to be transformed. We need to turn it into a forgivable loan program that incentivizes students to live and work in the state of Minnesota. We don't want to be paying for these educations, and then as soon as they're done, off they go out of the state. We need their brain power. We need their work ethic. We need all the things that they can contribute to Minnesota. This is not elective, Chris, in terms of, is it time to do something now? This is urgent. Minnesota is failing. We got an education report 2 weeks ago, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist to look at that thing and say, what in the world has happened to K through 12 in Minnesota?
I mean, I hate to say this, but you're spot on. Minnesota's numbers have been dropping precipitously. And I think what's most concerning is you talked about some of the CRT stuff and things like that. My point is that you would think with that sort of conversation in Minnesota, the numbers for people of color would be much better. But boy, you dive into the numbers in Minneapolis and St. Paul, and the scores for young Black Americans, Hispanics, it's sad. I mean, they're that bad. What say you?
Well, I agree with you, but I would also say this. Perhaps the most concerning issue that we're dealing with right now, this is hard to say, but I know it's a big deal that our kids are failing to achieve what they should achieve. But from my perspective as future governor, it's incredibly concerning to me that there's a significant portion of the population that's willing to turn a blind eye to our crisis in education and say, it's all okay. Don't get your undies in a bundle. We can go on the way we're going on. Just add more money into it. We've got Tim Walz talking about, well, Jensen doesn't want to fully fund a school. or our kids. I don't even know what fully funded means. Right now we spend some 13, 14,000 a kid. What is fully funded? Is that 50,000? And until we get to that number, we're not doing the job. Is it 20,000? And once we get to 20,000, they raise it to 25,000. This has got to be a time where everybody comes together and says, this is not acceptable. And we don't have that going on.
And Dr. Jensen, I think the one thing too that I would add, and maybe you can prove me wrong here, I've yet to see this, but can you tell me one school district in the nation where they said, hey, we're going to spend more money and the scores actually went up? I haven't seen it.
It's a great. No, I can't give you that either. But I can tell you this. I've seen Minnesota in the last biennial budget give arguably the biggest increase in actual dollars to K through 12 than in decades. And our performance continues to drop.
Yeah.
And people are really tuned in to what's happening to our minority populations. In many of the minority communities, they're getting hurt the worst.
Yes.
They're dropping the most. The achievement gap is huge.
Sorry, Dr. Jensen. Just we're coming up on our break. I have to play something for our audience here. There's two things I have to play for you and for our audience today. I don't even know if you've seen this, Dr. Jensen, but so you just mentioned all this money that has now been put into education, and yet the scores continue to go down. And now the Department of Education in Minnesota has released two 30-second ads. I want the people of Minnesota to hear this. They've released two 30-second ads. I'm going to play one of them for you in a moment for a statewide campaign. Listen to this spot, and if anyone knows anything about media, you know it's not cheap. It's not cheap to go do a statewide campaign. So your tax dollars are being used to put this up across the state. Listen.
It's our differences that make all the headlines these days.
But what about our similarities?
Most of us would do what educators do. Greet every day with a smile and hope through any obstacles.
Create a safe, welcoming environment
where all students can reach the potential that lies within them.
This school year, let's embrace what we all have in common
and support public education.
Welcome back to school, Minnesota.
Dr. Jensen, you and I could have done that for free. Like, I mean, help me understand what's going on here.
I actually saw that ad last night about midnight when I was going to bed. And I thought then what I think now, what a crock of milk post pablum. I mean, let's support what we can all support. Let's embrace what we can all embrace. What we're talking about here is a failed education system, and these people are behaving like everything's cool with the world. They spent millions of dollars on this ad campaign, and I would say this, shame on them. Minnesota is absolutely turning its back on teachers. Teachers are working their butts off in the classroom. They're buying school supplies for the kids because the kids don't have them. They're buying tablets and paper and pencils and things like this. And you've got Minnesota dissing teachers, the teachers that actually pay dues to Minnesota. And I think Minnesota is going to get its comeuppance on that because teachers are smart people. They're watching, and they have got to be infuriated by this pablum that's being served up to them. For what reason, I can't guess.
For millions of dollars. I mean, think about what that could mean for pay raises for teachers. And they just dropped a couple $1 million on an ad that you and I could have done for free. And yet you're taking that money away from the education of our kids and our teachers. Now, when we come back, Dr. Jensen, as you know, he is a doctor. Wait until you hear what Governor Tim Walz said the other day at the state fair in an interview. Who knew that this guy was prophetic and prescient? But apparently he is, and we're going to play that for you and Dr. Jensen when we come back. Number to call in, 701-271-1100. Stick around, much more coming up.
Are you suffering from a serious dental issue? Your mouth hurts, or you think your teeth should be whiter but you don't have insurance? Well, no problem. Right now, Smile Solutions Fargo offers an exclusive membership program just for you that will take away your pain and make your teeth feel and look great. For less than $1 a day, you will receive a comprehensive dental exam and 2 teeth cleanings per year. And if you're suffering from a more serious dental issue, your Smile Solutions membership will give you 15% off all treatments offered at Smile Solutions, including cosmetic procedures, even teeth whitening. Call now at 701-515-9850. No dental insurance? No problem. Call right now to find out how Smile Solutions Fargo can make your teeth look and feel great for less than $1 a day with their membership program. Call now at 701-515-9850. Again, 701-515-9850. Call now.
Update your home with Cedar Creek Vinyl Siding at Menards. Cedar Creek Siding is a beautiful and low-maintenance vinyl siding that features a rustic wood grain texture. It's available in double 4-inch or double 4-inch Dutch lap and in 16 color options. All Cedar Creek Vinyl Siding is 11% off. Good through September 5th. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
At the University of Mary, we offer an education for the whole of life. Our values-based, flexible, and affordable education will prepare you for success and help you become a leader in your field. Whether you want to start your degree for the first time or continue your education, whether you are a working professional or want to pursue school full-time, join us for an education that will help you make a positive impact in our community. Discover the Mary difference. umary.edu. That's umary.edu.
Fix it forward auto care. The name you trust for car repair.
When your car breaks down, it can be a huge inconvenience. Our team at Fix It Forward understands that the longer you have to wait, the more difficult it can be. That's why we promise to get you in fast with after-hours key drop, free loaner cars with repairs, and text quotes. Just approve your repair with a touch of a button and pick up when ready. Fix It Forward Auto Care, the name you trust for car repair.
Fix it forward auto care.
Not all real estate is the same. Jose Investments deals with exactly what you need. Are you looking to move into a building or buildings needing to warehouse your product? Maybe your company needs more space or another space for distribution. Some companies need a space specifically for manufacturing. See how these differ? Jose Investments knows the buyers and the sellers and can finish the deal you need to grow. Are you a buyer or a seller? Jose Investments is the company that specializes in these properties. Call Scott at Jose Investments today.
Welcome back to the Chris Berg Show, your daily dose of truth. Truth. Hard to find these days. That's why we're like your one-a-day vitamin. Your one-a-day vitamin of truth. Right here to help set you free. People that are not setting you free right now, the Federal Reserve continuing to raise rates because they botched the inflation situation in our nation. And then today, I'm sure you saw the markets just get crushed last week, down 1,000 points at one point. And then today, the New York Fed chair president comes out and says, oh, yeah, by the way, we're going to keep raising rates. We got to get this inflation thing under control, even though we know it was at 0% up. I'm not going to pull a Joe Biden here, but 0% up in July compared to the last month. We're just going to continue to keep raising these rates until, more people are unemployed, people can't afford housing. So buy multifamily homes. I say all this because I want to remind you, do yourself a favor. Now is the time when you see what's going on in the markets to really get a grasp, whether you like it or not, it's not the point, just for you to at least grasp decentralized finance. After we saw what happened in Canada, very, very important that you become your own custodian, become your own bank. One way to do that, reach out to Patrick at thereaper.io. Again, that's Patrick, Patrick, at thereaper.io, or just check out thereaper.io, and Patrick will be more than happy to sit down with you and visit. All right, Dr. Scott Jensen with us, running for governor in the great state of Minnesota, head-to-head with Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. I want to share something with you, Dr. Jensen, which maybe you knew this. I didn't, but apparently Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is prophetic and prescient at the same time. So he was asked about, school lockdowns and things like that in a recent interview at the State Fair. Listen to what he has to say here now. You're a doctor. You may say, hey, Chris, he's absolutely right. But I heard this and I was like, whoa, what?
Continued on. So it was about establishing a rhythm. It will come back. There will be a variant in October and November. And the best way to deal with
what? How does he know there's going to be a new variant in October and November?
I think that's remarkable, Chris, for several reasons. But first and foremost, this is a guy whose basic campaign strategy has been to hide in the basement, complain about misinformation, refuse to debate, demonize his opponent, and tell people that the issue that really matters in November is an issue that doesn't even come into play. It's already been settled in Minnesota. I mean, this is astonishing. This is a guy who came out in the last couple of days and said that they did a good job during the COVID pandemic, and that they only lock kids out of school basically 10 days. They said 80% of kids missed less than 10 days of in-classroom school. Well, that's just a barefaced lie. In class, in school. Well, he shut schools down completely for 10 days in March of 2020. And then for the next 2 months, everything was remote. So that's going to be at least 20, 40, 50 days right there. Not 10, but 50. And then the next year, he did it again. That lie of his couldn't be more than, I mean, it has to be one of the most grotesque instances of what misinformation is. And for that lie, he owes every teacher an apology, because he's throwing the teachers under the bus. He's saying that no, nothing changed. Well, if nothing changed, and we have seen this precipitous drop from his own report 2 weeks ago, that means he's saying nothing changed, everything was okay, and school student performance crashed. That means he's basically saying the teachers are doing a really crappy job. Teachers their hands were shackled. They were not in class with their kids. They wanted to be. You had a few that didn't want to. You had the teachers at Minnesota, which has nothing to do with teachers as far. But the bottom line is he owes every teacher an apology. He owes every parent an apology. And someday he owes every kid an apology. He lied. The idea that 80% of the kids missed less than 10 days of in-classroom instruction. They missed more likely hundreds of in-class days. And he needs to answer that and apologize.
My question for you, though, is, I mean, this is your MO, right? You're a doctor. You understand epidemiology. How can he come out and suggest that there is going to be a variant in October or November? Like, what is he talking about? Am I missing something?
He's talking about, he's being brainless. Honest to goodness.
Is it fear-mongering?
He's plucking out of the air. Well, we know we've had this variant and this variant and this variant. There'll most likely be another variant. So he's going to come out and act like some scientific guru. The fact of the matter is each variant has been arguably less and less pathogenic. That's why we're doing what we're doing. If you actually look at the data right now in terms of new cases, there's still a lot of new cases of COVID out there, but this Omicron variant has been dramatically different. And, you know, we can talk about BA5, BA1, BA2. We can talk about all these variants, but the bottom line is this pandemic is fizzling out, and it's not fizzling out because we've had the World Health Organization or someone tell us that we can proceed. This has happened because Americans have said, we're done. You folks are crazy. If you think that you're going to control us forever and a day, that you can use your fear-mongering to hold us under your thumb, we're done. So we're moving on. So we got here at the State Fair, Chris, we've got 150,000 people here every day. They are done. And I think that this is a reflection on the fact that Tim Walz and the leaders of the state, including Jan Malcolm, have absolutely lost control. They botched it on the lockdown. We had the liberal governor of New York come out and say, gee, wow, we shouldn't have locked the kids out. People are recognizing this across the nation.
Dr. Scott Jensen, thank you. Always so gracious with his time. If you want to find out more, go to his website, drscottjensen.com. Again, drscottjensen.com. Doc, thank you so much. Keep up the great work, sir.
Thank you, Chris. Have a good night.
You too. All right, be sure and join us tomorrow. We got an incredible show tomorrow at 4. Have a great day.